Hello, students. One more very useful and important topic here we are discussing, that is numbers. When to use, when to spell out the number, and when number can be written in the figure. So, figures or number versus words. So let us see what are the rules. What rules say? Generally spell out numbers under 10 or 11 and use figures for numbers 10 or 11 and above. So rules says that spell out numbers under 10 or sometime 11. So it should be spell out like 1, 5, 11, something like that. And use figures for numbers 10, 11 and above, and then sometime 10, 15, 21 like this. So that's a 10 or above we can use figures, but use numerals for numbers frequently used in technical or scientific context. Please take care. Whenever we use numerals for numbers frequently used in technical, so for technical or scientific context or mathematics and for, so that numerals are suggested. And spell out numbers that begin a sentence. Very important rule. Whenever sentence, in the beginning of the sentence, suppose sentence is started with the number, so then it should be spelled out, right? Like example is 21 years ago. So 21, that should be spelled out. Now sometime we put hyphenate compound numbers, right? So compound numbers from 21 to 99. This is a rule. 21 to 99 number should be hyphen. Spell out centuries. That's another rule. Centuries, 21st, 20, 21 century, this way, right? And use the symbol percentage in less formal writing or spell it out in formal writing. So use the symbol percentage in less formal writing, right? And spell out in formal writing. So in formal writing it should be spell out or it should be into the words, right? Okay. When to spell out numbers? So when spell out means in the words. So when numbers should be written in the words. Number 1, small numbers. Numbers from 0 to 9 and 10, depending on your style guide, are typically spelled out in non-technical writing, such as there were two birds on a branch. So that is numbers from 0 to 9, right? Or 10 sometime, depending on your style guide, are typically spelled out in non-technical writing, right? So for non-technical writing, technical is a informal somewhat, so then number must be spelled out or written in the words. There were two birds, this way. Okay, now compound numbers. Hyphenate compound numbers from 21 to 99. Please remember these numbers. So here 55, 50, 5. So it should be hyphenated this way. Okay. Now next, centuries. Spell out centuries such as 21st century, right? 22nd century. Then starting a sentence. Never begin sentence with numeral or spell out the number instead as in 21. So here I am highlighting never. Never begin a sentence with a numeral. Spell out the number instead as 21, 20 years ago, right? The city was very different. So this way we should start a sentence with the words, or we should spell out the number. Now when to use figure? Figure means number. When to use number, right? So here numbers 10 and above, right? So number 10 and above should be written in the figure. So numbers 10 and above, 10 and above, right, are generally written as figures in standard writing. Okay. Now, technical or scientific writing. In these contexts, especially when numbers are used frequently, it is important. When numbers are used frequently, it is common to use numerals for clarity. So, for clarity, we should use numerals. And ease of reading. So, that will be ease of reading, catchy. Number can be caught easily. Now the next rule, when for figures, decimals and percentage. Write decimals using figures like this is, right? So when we use decimal in the writing, so then we should use numbers in the figures in the case of decimal or percentage also, right? Now large numbers, suppose there is a large number, use figures for large number like this one I told you in the beginning, right? So that's a 5 8 1 7 0 0. So that's a ones, tens, hundreds, thousand, 10,000, this way. This is the Indian system. This way also you can write, right? So that's a in the figure with the commas. Then percentage already discussed, but again use numeral for percentage, right? Example 10%, so numeral, or spell it out as 10% in formal writing. Okay, so that is for informal, we can say this way you can write, and for formal writing it should be spelled out. Okay. Now, important consideration, consistency. Be consistent with your choice of words or figures within a sentence. Whatever you are following, you should follow. Maintain consistency, right? And dialogue in fictional or quoted dialogues. Spell out numbers, right? For dialogues, for any literary work, we should spell out the numbers. Though you can use figures if the words become too long or awkward. In case of very uh, long or long words or sentences, something, so then for that case you can use figures, right? Then formal versus informal. Less formal writing allows for more flexibility. Anything that is your choice for less formal. And while formal writing requires adherence to establish style guide. So then we have to use style guide, right? So that is a short video